Okay, so we're going to change that T-handle and put a vacuum pressure gauge in line.
So does this...
Yeah, they're two separate pieces. And mind you, we turned off the fuel supply line right here so it will not flood out the top. Okay, go ahead and lay that on the white absorbent pad, the T-handle, lay it there. Pull the top of the filter canister off, lift that. Make sure that the gasket is okay. It looks okay. Now look at this. See what this says here. That's a -02. -02 means 2 microns. Pull it up, grab that little handle and pull it up and look at it.
Little handle.
Okay, so what color is that filter?
Red.
And that's the same color as good, clean diesel fuel for the marine industry. So that's great, it's not dirty. So now do not slap this back in, put it in slowly. You can see the fuel rising over here on the edges. Just put it back in. Okay, so now that's full. I'm going to wipe my finger off on the absorbent pad down there. Put the cover back on first.
Yep.
Before you do that, pardon me, use your fingers to lubricate that red O-ring. So dip a little fuel, I'll do it. I'll dip a little fuel, put it around that red O-ring. Okay, now put the cover on. Bounce it around. Okay, and now screw the new T-handle in place. And it's got that red O-ring fitting right there, okay? Now if this is a vacuum gauge that will show how much vacuum, tighten it up, show how much vacuum is required for the engine to suck fuel through the dirty filter. And there you go, just 1 umph is tight enough. And when you're buying this aftermarket products from RACOR, there's a blue cap right there. You have to pull that little blue cap up so the inside of the filter can breathe. And remember, this is not a pressure gauge, it is a vacuum gauge. So there's your vacuum gauge right there. I'm going to move this a little bit. You can see that needle's on 0. I'm going to put my follower down to 0. And then this evening when we come back home, we'll check and see how much the follower needle has moved off of 0, and we can determine if the fuel filter is dirty or not. By looking at that red stained paper fuel filter element, it's clean, so we'll see if it's dirty or not. What's the last thing we do before we start the engine?
Turn the supply to the starboard engine back on.
Okay, so we've got to turn the hose or the fuel pipe back on. And that's it right there. To the starboard engine. Turn that on. And we're in business. So we now have a vacuum indicator with a maximum vacuum attained indicator. So we can check how much vacuum was used during the day without having to come down into the engine room while the engines are running. If you've got more questions about fuel filters, ask Captain Chris. Or Woody.